On this episode of Cuesta Dos, my brother David and I start off the show by talking about Aaron Gordon getting robbed in the dunk contest for the second time, and the All-Star Game format and if it's here to stay. Talk about the Houston Astros and their tone-deaf and ridiculous press conference with their players and owner, Rob Manfred, and if he should step down in his handling of the Houston issue. The XFL, how their attendance happened, what their attendance was like in week 2 and the social media feedback. Mike Tomlin coming out and defending Mason Rudolph against Miles Garrett's allegations again. And Jameis Winston gets LASIK surgery, and he's going to be the best quarterback of all time. So without any further ado, enjoy the show.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one.
What's going on, sports fans? Welcome to another exciting edition of Cuesta Dos. I'm Alex Cuesta. As always, with me to my proverbial somewhere is my brother David Cuesta. What's up, Dave?
Hi, how you doing? How's everyone doing?
So this week's a weird week. We couldn't record on Monday because the power was out. Yesterday, I passed out. And today is a weird edition. This is kind of a combined Cuesta Dos Sports Opinions podcast. So David is going to be co-host / guest, I guess, because my guest for Sports Opinions podcast had to bail out. And that's okay. We're going to have him on in the future. But, so Dave, you are co-host / guest. How does that make you feel?
It feels fine. I mean, I did a Cuesta Uno before. It's nothing new.
So yeah, I'm just gonna abuse you and treat you as I always treat you, and that's not very good.
That's fine.
So we are going to jump right into the meat and potatoes of things, and we're gonna start off with poor Aaron Gordon. I feel terrible for Aaron Gordon, Dave. He has possibly 2 of the top 3 dunks in the history of the dunk contest. The one dunk that he did this last week when he went off the side of the backboard and grabbed it, spun and banged it was insane. And he got second in a dunk off again. 2016 it was to Zach LaVine. This time it was to Derrick Jones Jr. Dwayne Wade should never judge anything again. I feel awful for Aaron Gordon. He should have 2 dunk contest trophies. He got 5 consecutive 50s in a row before getting a 47 on a really good dunk where he dunked over a 7'5" Taco Fall. What the hell, Dave?
Okay, I'll agree. He definitely did get robbed, but Dwayne Wade has a point. He wasn't the only one that gave a 9. I do listen. It's fine to criticize Dwayne Wade for giving a 9 for that dunk because you shouldn't give a 9 for dunking over a 7'5" man. But he wasn't the only one to give a 9. I feel like we should get after all of them if we want to. But it's just unfortunate that Aaron Gordon got robbed again, and he made a good point afterwards. I saw I believe it was Rachel Nichols that quoted him. He said, "Why isn't it like cumulative? Like I got like 5 50s." I got so many 50s, and I lose. That makes no sense.
Here's the reason why I killed Dwayne Wade. Because, number one, he played, and he knows what it's like to really dunk. I know everyone says Candace Parker, first woman to dunk in a game, won a dunk contest. Not to be mean to Candace Parker or women, but when they dunk, they rim grace. It's not like they're going in there and doing all these tricky sorts of dunks. So, it is what it is. But I'm killing him because we know that was Miami bias. The bottom line was, we know for a fact that he was rooting for the Miami guy, and he knew that his 9 there would more than likely ensure that it's a tie because someone else was going to be stupid because they were told you needed to choose a winner.
Apparently, they wanted it to be a tie.
Honestly, I'm not going to kill Derrick Jones Jr. for anything.
No, I mean, he went and dunked his life out.
He dunked his tail off. He shouldn't have accepted the trophy. He should have.
You can't listen.
Well,
You
he should
accept
have
it's
told
given to you, man.
he accepted, but he should have told Aaron, "Come up with me," and refused to hold it alone. He should have split that trophy. And the fact that he came back and was like, he can come back next year. No, Derek. No, Derek. You can only go through your legs so often. And I get it. The dunk contest was great. It was great. And, Derek Jones did it effortless. I'll give him that. He was so much fun
he's
to
fantastic.
watch. It was a good time watching him.
Yeah. This is one of the best dunk contests we've had in a while.
It's the best I've seen in a real long time. But, and I was going to come back and praise and talk about how great it was. I'm probably not going to watch next year, the year after that. I'm not.
Because it depends who they have.
You just turned this contest. A lot of people were turned off. You need to have Nate Robinson come back next year because nobody's going to watch it. It's going to be one of those where you just put a sour taste in everyone's mouth. And removing guys like Dr. J, guys like Dominique Wilkins, people that actually know what a dunk is, and putting in the guy that from Black Panther, putting in Candace Parker, putting in Common. Come on, guys. What the hell do they know? Every dunk's a 10 because they can't, besides Candace. But every dunk's a 10. So, I don't know. I take very big issue with Aaron Gordon being robbed again.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, it's not right. But I'm not the angriest about it. I mean, it's a dunk contest. In the overall scheme of things, it doesn't matter too much.
Can we also give an RIP to Aaron Gordon in terms of being funny, though? Because when he was given the press conference and he said he's going to go for the three-point contest instead, he was definitely looking for some laughs, and they gave him none.
Hey, listen, you throw them out. Sometimes they bomb. You just got to keep it pushing. It happens. It happens, man.
So, quick comment. Since we're doing this on a Wednesday, we get the benefit of the NBA coming out and saying that they are going to basically keep some sort of the All-Star Game format where the final. So we explained the All-Star Game format. It actually ended up being pretty cool. You still saw a lot of the same All-Star Game stuff. Limited defense early, lots of threes, lots of lobs. But when it came down to the final fourth quarter where they were just aiming for a number, no time limit, just, this is the number to get to, it got pretty competitive. And we saw a Giannis Antetokounmpo block on LeBron James be a big deciding factor. And, LeBron ultimately ended up winning Team LeBron, but it was just cool to see a competitive edge. And now they said they're going to keep some sort of form of that. Dave, how do you feel about them keeping it?
I like it. I like it a lot. Everyone liked it. That helps the NBA a lot, especially since their ratings have been great. They know that it's going down a little bit, at least enough to be alarming, so that they're thinking of changes. And that helped a lot that their All-Star game was good again. So I like that they're keeping it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch it. I heard about how competitive it was. I saw videos on Instagram and everywhere because you could just basically catch up on the whole thing now. And I was impressed. I mean, I like the idea of giving money to charities after each quarter, and then that's a fantastic idea. Having them there, cheer them on. It's a great idea. Great way to give back to the fans. And then the fourth quarter, the great honor to Kobe. And I mean, I saw Ice Cube take some credit here because he said the big three started the set score. Like, you only get up to this high, no time limit. There's no reason for the time. And hey, man, it's a great idea because everyone loved it. It was very competitive. Everyone wanted to win, and it ended on a free throw, which is fantastic.
Is naming the All-Star MVP after Kobe Bryant, do you think that's going to be as far as the NBA goes now? Do you think they are done with their official tributes to Kobe? And is it enough?
I think so. I listen, I was a big proprietor of the logo. I thought it was a very good idea. I know I've seen multiple times changing the logo, getting thrown around because you can. It's been a long time, and I don't think Jerry West would have cared. But I think that's the final memorial kind of thing that they're going to do in game and in league for him. And I mean, listen, it's fine. They don't want to change a lot of the league because they have a lot to do right now. They have a lot to make sure of. And they just want to make sure they can get through their times while also having the memorial for one of their biggest stars of all time.
All right. Last thing I want to say is I want the big three to just come in and be the All-Star game. Just choose 3 teams, 8 teams of 3, do a big 3 style tournament exactly the way Ice Cube does it. Let him run it cross-platform. Let's make this fun. Let's get sexy. All right. I'm ready to move on.
We're going to move on from something that was a big success, over to something that's a big failure that no one likes. Even LeBron commented on it. But we're moving on to the Astros' ridiculous press conference that happened, where Bregman and Altuve basically talked for 30 seconds. I really didn't say much. The owner came out. It was absolutely tone deaf, said the cheating scandal did nothing really to help them win that World Series. They had a good team. Cheating didn't matter. It really didn't do much. It shouldn't, basically, I know I'm going a little further than he did, but I feel like it's appropriate. And it looked silly. Like, it wasn't a press conference to say, like, they admitted it. It just seemed like they didn't care.
They're a bunch of clowns. Carlos Correa came out and like defended Altuve and basically called everybody out, and he sounded like a big jerk. Altuve and Bregman are big jerks apparently, and it's telling when these two guys say something. It's very telling when Mike Trout, who is not involved in anything, but he is the face of baseball in terms of talent, but he's really a silent soldier, comes out and basically says, it's an illegitimate championship. They cheated.
No, Mike Trout said something. Nick Markakis said something.
Nick Markakis said they all need to get their asses beat.
He sure did.
He Flat out says every one of them in that clubhouse needs to get their asses beat. Needs a good beating. And then Aaron Judge says it's not real. It wasn't earned.
Yeah.
You need to earn. And fun fact, the slogan for the 2017 Astros was "Earn It." So, so there you go. That just tells you, it's laughable to see how arrogant these guys are being. And if they're sitting there, and if their whole theory is, well, we're the villain, so let's just run with it.
That's playing a good heel. I'll give him that. It's definitely
a good heel, but you better win 100 games this year. You better be in the running. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys are confident in your ability, I get it. You're pros, but have some contrition for what you did. We all talk about, I make fun of baseball's fake integrity because it's fake, but everyone likes to tout about their fake integrity and how much they take the game seriously. And then these momos are running around like, we're great. We're going to be back in the World Series. That really didn't help us that much. We'll see. I don't think it helped during the, training where a fan started bashing a trash can during batting practice the other day.
That's pretty funny.
Fantastic. But, they have to expect to be a villain, and I hope that all 29 teams hit them at least once this year intentionally. Hit one of their guys intentionally.
It's probably going to happen.
And, and it's like, I don't want them to headhunt. But God, if a guy that was like, a former Dodger, a former Yankee, one of these guys, if they do headhunt one of them, you earned it. At this point, you earned it. You're a bunch of jerks. And you want to sit there and act all tough. I hope Mike Friars just, intentionally comes in to just throw as hard as he can at them. Just the way Happy Gilmore like runs into a swing, he should just sprint off the mound and throw it as hard as he can. Like, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, but then he's gonna get a bigger punishment than they did.
That's a good transition into where we're going, Dave. Oh, by the way, owner Jim Crane, you're stupid too. Have some contrition. Anyway, we're gonna go into the punishment section with the commissioner of Major League Baseball.
Can we call it that?
We can't really, because there is no punishment. And as much as the players have been getting killed by the own players in the league and everybody else, this man, the commissioner, Rob Manfred, has been getting just as much of a killing. One of the main reasons, he's been getting destroyed for not giving any of the Astro players any penalties, and he's been kind of quiet about it. He let his report speak for itself up until an interview that just happened. He essentially called the World Series trophy useless. Called it a piece of metal. Now, he just came out today, I believe, and was like, I misspoke. But that set so many players off, saying that he is another tone deaf was used again. that he has no idea what it's like to work hard. He's never won anything in his life. Like, he got ripped apart. And also basically defending MLB in such a miraculous way, contradicting what the Astros players have been saying about Trash Can. Saying that they've knew things, they had complaints, but also saying that, that the public outcry and all the public scrutiny is as much of a punishment in itself as anything they could do. Dave, I think, commissioners work for the owners. The owners are going to lose a lot of money because I think they're almost to the point where initially fans are going to want to see the Astros, but then fans of away teams are just not going to want to go. They might lose money off this team. Rob Manfred might have to go, Dave.
All right, so basically, Rob Manfred came out and said they are who we thought they were, and I let him off the hook. That's what he said. But
I love that.
But in reality, yeah. Listen, if he had given a much harsher punishment and actually did things to the players, and then maybe called it a hunk of metal, I can believe he misspoke. If he did actually give them a punishment, like to the players and to the whole organization, then you can at least give him a little leeway and say, okay, maybe he misspoke. It was just in the interview. He's just a little dumb sometimes, or whatever. But you can give that to anyone if they're actually
dumb.
Yeah, everyone is a little dumb sometimes. That's it. But if his actions meant enough, then he could say those types of things and just say, like, I misspoke. I didn't mean it that way. But since he didn't take any action and then spoke in that tone, it's really looking like you shouldn't be the commissioner of the MLB. That's what it looks like.
And then to flat out say, any players that take retaliation against the Astros will be facing severe suspensions.
Yeah.
You're asking for it. You're asking for it. If I'm the member of like a team, I'm calling up my hardest thrower from the minor leagues just to come in and face one of these batters once, beat them, fine, you get suspended. Cool. We'll slip you a check, you're getting an
you get a little extra.
And you'll get a little, bonus will be which body part you hit will be your bonus number. Like, that's what I do. I bring someone expendable on.
It's like a workers' comp, but just the other way around.
Could you imagine if the same guy, like, he throws like 106, like he goes in from like the Reds organization to the Angels and then to another team, like he just gets 350 game suspensions.
Like a mercenary.
He's just a mercenary. He's just beanball, Altuve, Correa, and then Bregman. Just those are his 3 targets. Yeah,
but it's not looking good for the MLB. Like, maybe the ratings might go up a little bit just to watch the Astros get hit, and hopefully a lot of people are going to want them to lose. But you can't. It looks very bad for you to keep having scandals like this, and then also because baseball. Listen, I know you rag on the fake integrity, but that's what they try to show themselves as, no matter what. But scandal after scandal after scandal, at one point that just breaks down.
And, most of all, the goo bag that is Justin Verlander, who has been one of the most outspoken people about anything controversial. If there's any problems, he sits there on his high horse. To be on that team and know that this is going on, because any player that claims it wasn't going on is even more of a liar than the ones that think that it didn't affect their championship. But to sit there and be as outspoken as he is about anything, anytime HGH or any cheating happens, and then to be on that team and not say anything, he's lost a lot of credibility too. And I hope when he goes up and faces an NL team, someone hits him. Hit the pitchers too, guys. They deserve it as well. Jerks.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an interesting year for the MLB. That's what we're seeing. It's going to be a very interesting year.
Start of the year, definitely.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can't wait to see the first pitcher that does it gets a suspension, and what is going to happen between the MLBPA, because MLBPA also came out and threw Rob Manfred under the bus. I forget what they contradicted him with, but they contradicted him on something as well. So they're not completely behind him, and I think they've seen the error of their ways defending the Astros players as hard as they have. Mm-hmm. So it definitely will be interesting.
Yeah.
For once, baseball is much watched television, and it's not the playoffs. So,
Talking about must-watch television,
hey.
it's not entirely must-watch. We're going to talk about the XFL, their ratings and attendance for Week 2. Actually, I don't have the attendance because I'm silly, but we're going to talk about the ratings because
I have the attendance because
Okay,
I'm
good.
useful.
Yeah, well, sometimes. All right, so Week 2 ratings, they did take a dive as expected, though. They went down about a million viewers, so around 3.3 to like 2.1, 2.2, 2.3.
And that's kind of per game. So
Yeah,
it's a steep dive, but it's not the
but it's
AAF
expected.
dive.
Listen, it's expected from a
Yes.
new league. What needs to be seen is what Week 3 and Week 4 and the rest of the weeks look like. Because if they can keep around 2.2, even just 2, and keep like a solid base around, that helps a lot. Just getting through this year is the biggest part of this. So we got to see what happens. It is a dive, but they're still over 2 million. So I think they're a little happy about where they want to be. They need to up the QB play a little bit from some of these teams, and they need to up a little bit of this. Find a way to up the scores from some of these teams, and then maybe they'll gain even more followers. But you had the attendance. How did the attendance look?
The attendance was saved essentially by Seattle. So last week across the board, basically 17,000 was the number in stadiums. This week, only St. Louis at Houston hit 17,000. Dallas visiting LA was paltry at 14.9, closer to 5. And New York versus DC was right around 14,000. And New York versus DC was right around 15,000. Tampa Bay going to Seattle was 29,000. It brought the overall number up to 76,000, which is very nice looking. Not going to lie.
I mean, Tampa going to Seattle was that much?
29,000. People in Seattle like sports.
Yeah.
They carried the MLS into the way that they are right now in terms of numbers with the Sounders.
Yeah.
And if they can continue to get great numbers like that from Seattle. Now, you mentioned quarterback play. That's a big deal. I feel like right now, wherever Cardell Jones and PJ Walker are is going to get good numbers. Those two guys are emerging as the two
They're
stars
good.
of the
They're legitimately
XFL.
good.
Yes. And you mentioned quarterback play. Matt McGloin looked terrible. Landry Jones didn't look good. The 6 other quarterbacks playing did not look very good.
No, Jordan Tom was fine. Jordan
was-
Tom was fine. Landry Jones is probably going to get into it, and Josh Johnson is as well. You got to remember it's their first week back from football ever.
Yes.
So I believe that those guys can bring it. Matt McGloin, listen, he needs to get in rhythm in order to look good because Matt McGloin's not a terrible, terrible QB, but we got to see what Kevin Gilbride can do with them. And I mean, Seattle and Tampa Bay are the ones that are really looking for a QB to come and lead them. I mean, can Brandon Silvers do it for Seattle? I don't know. They won, but Tampa Bay is really lost.
I'm surprised Gilbride didn't kill Matt McGloin at halftime after Matt McGloin blamed the game plan and called it embarrassing. But that's also the beauty of the XFL. See, I'm still interested, and a lot of football fans I talk to have said the XFL is legit. I enjoy watching it. It is higher level than expected. I think it's right around Division I college ball. I think it's right there in terms of that level. The QB play needs to get better. If the QB play catches up, this is a real league. And it's exciting because the line play is what I was scared of, and the offensive lines have been fine for me.
Yeah, no, they've been pretty good. You got to remember, the QB is one of the hardest positions because you have to be able to have these reads and but right before the snap and during the snap, basically, to see where everyone's going. So, of course, like when you're not in the game for a while, you're gonna have those games. I'm just hoping that they can all step it up.
Now, I'm just curious. You're watching this as a QB3, not even a backup, because backups make great money in the NFL, and backups one of the best jobs ever. But a QB3, a young QB3, or even a veteran QB3, you're watching this, and you're seeing, okay, protection's pretty decent. You know, receivers can catch for the most part. Our running backs are I think the running game has been pretty good all around. I've liked the running backs in this league.
Mm-hmm.
You're watching that, and you're looking at it going, it's a pay cut. But the notoriety, if I'm good, look at Cardell. Look at Josh Johnson. Not Josh Johnson, PJ Walker. Those guys are probably getting looked at not for QB3, but for QB2 looks right now. So there's a perk to doing that. And also, if you're in the NCAA and you're maybe a JUCO kid that is looking to go to a big-time school as a quarterback, instead maybe jumping ship to the XFL and getting a chance there. I think there's something here, Dave. As long as it doesn't burn out, like you said, week 3, week 4 is going to be important. But in terms of the product on the field, I still enjoy it. I thought it's still pretty good football.
Yeah, no, I think the new rules have gone over fantastically. We still need to see overtime, but we can't force that, obviously.
The kickoff needs to be taken by the NFL.
People
the
love
NFL needs to take it.
People absolutely love the kickoff. Everyone loves the kickoff. The NFL will take it at one point. Even if the XFL folds, the NFL will always take something from the XFL. But I
love the kickoff. And once they start to get creative, once they get comfortable with it, I'm excited for the creativity of the kickoff and what these coaches are going to do. Because right now it's straightforward. You know that they're going to get creative soon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. They're still getting used to it. But when it comes to the QBs, P.J. Walker is an absolute phenom. Like, he's going to be right in the NFL right after this year. Right after this year, he's going to be in the NFL. The way he's played out there, he's made them look silly.
Yeah, he's definitely the Mahomes of the league right now, and that's not even an exaggeration.
Yeah, no, he really is. The way he can move in the pocket and then flush himself, get out of the pocket and make those plays the way he does, absolutely ridiculous. Cardell also looks good. I don't think he's P.J. Walker, but he's playing well as well. I mean, he's still undefeated out of high school as a starting QB, so that's always good for him.
You know, scouts have to look at this and go, where did we miss on P.J. Walker? What the hell?
Week 1, I don't remember who said it. It was one of the commentators, but sometimes it's just the timing and the place, and it just doesn't work out. And that's why the XFL can be very helpful. Like you said, with a QB3, with maybe just a vet just to have fun, like you feel like you're done in the NFL, but you can still have fun with the game you love to play, you can go down to the XFL and be pretty damn good.
Let's go, Eli. Let's go, Eli. Come on, Eli.
He won't do that. He's done with football, I think.
Let's go, Eli. Could you imagine the bump the league would get if Eli Manning decided to come play? He'd be an XFL Hall of Famer in 2 years.
Oh, 100%. But
he'd have a completion percentage over 60%. Yay!
But the whole thing is, like, when you look at the XFL, if it can stay, I think that's what everyone's looking at right now. If it can stay around, it's a great developmental league. It really is, because it's not a long, strenuous journey throughout the season, and you're able to see still pretty high game speed, and with real coaches. Like all these coaches coached in the NFL, or at least in football, or they're around football. Yeah. So we just got to see. We just got to see if people can go to the games. We got to see if people watching on TV. And we never know. I hope it lasts, but hey, at least we'll get a kickoff out of it.
So obviously we got 8 more weeks, hopefully. I don't think money's going to be a problem. I don't think it's going to fold because of that. No. So hopefully we got 8 more weeks in a championship. That'll be exciting. What is going to be a challenge for me is, at this point, they're losing Cardell Jones and P.J. Walker. Unless something catastrophic happens, they're going to lose those 2 guys. Reloading next year is going to be the interesting thing to me. How do they reload on talent that they lose to the NFL? Can they lure in enough NFL lower tier talent to come and play with them?
Yes, 100%. If NFL players feel like they're not getting the reps that they need, they're not really being seen as much as they should, they will jump down to the XFL if it works out. That's the whole thing that matters here. Because I'm telling you right now, people are. Yes, that's exactly. You're getting a lot of game film on kids. You only have so much time in the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be able to get a lot of game film in the XFL. I'm telling you, everyone is watching to see, will this work out? Will people actually watch it? Will it matter? The way it's being bumped on social media, people seem to love it. They really do. And I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited too. I was excited to hear Greg Olson in the booth, and I think Greg McElroy is pretty good too. I think they're also finding some talent that way as well.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Speaking of talent, a great talent in Myles Garrett continues to spout off what I think and what I thought at the time is utter nonsense about his altercation with Mason Rudolph, where he physically attacked him and was 100% in the wrong, David, And
you're twisting the argument again. But we're not going to get into that because that's not what this is about.
So anyway, he had an interview with, I believe, Mina Kimes of ESPN, a one-on-one interview about the situation. He just recently got reinstated back into the NFL, which I think it should be lifetime. He should never be allowed back in. But he was back in the NFL, and he persisted with the accusation that Mason Rudolph used a racial slur, and that caused him to be an absolute idiot and animal, and used his helmet as a weapon. Rudolph's helmet against him as a weapon. And Mike Tomlin now took problem with that, had a problem with that. And he came out publicly. And Mike Tomlin isn't usually the one to come out in this strong way, and strongly defends Mason Rudolph, saying that he knows Mason. Mason wouldn't say that. That's not his character. That no one on the field around them at the time corroborates Myles Garrett's story. No one since then on either franchise corroborates Myles Garrett's story, which, if you really think about it, let's look at the logistics here. The league is predominantly black. And if a racial slur was thrown around like that, and if any of the players on either team thought that this was true, don't you think that there would be a lot more noise about Mason Rudolph getting kicked out the league? I don't believe Myles Garrett's story for 1 minute, and I hate the fact that he was interviewed one-on-one, but Mason Rudolph has never had a sit-down interview with anybody to tell his side of the story. I think Tomlin has put this to bed with his backing of Mason Rudolph.
I'm coming. Don't worry, I'm coming in. I was just making sure you finished.
Yeah, where'd you go? You ran away.
No, I'm here. Don't worry. But anyway, yeah, I do agree. Tomlin did definitely put this to bed with the way he came with Rudolph and helped him out. But, in all technical sense, they were one-on-one on the ground at one point. Technically, Mason Rudolph could have said it. I just don't believe in the timing that Garrett came out and said that he said it. Like, Garrett, if it happened, you probably would have said it. That happened at the time. You would have said it to Rudolph's lineman. Like, he called me that. Like, you're really gonna defend? Like, you would have done these things either on the field. You would have said it to people. It would have came out before he actually said it happened. I think that's my whole problem with it. Is that it seemed like it almost seemed like he calculated to say this. And Mike Tomlin coming out and defending Rudolph. It's like you said, Tomlin doesn't stick his neck out and do these things a lot.
And Mike Tomlin's one of the most prominent black figures in sports that's not a player.
I know.
He's a
Hall of Fame coach.
Hall of Fame coach. One of the greatest. Did an amazing job last year with a team that shouldn't have been very good at football.
Yeah.
And so his recommendation that's a lack of a better term that I could think of for Rudolph, and also. When things like this happen, especially lately, Dave, people start searching for things. And people come out the woodwork to start to accuse. Your social justice warriors will find things in the past of a guy like Rudolph to try and prove Garrett's story. We haven't had that. We haven't had a single player in any locker room that he's ever been in.
That could come out and say that. It's true. I didn't even think about that.
Pro, college, high school. Whether it's anything on social media, whether it's any friends group in any which way, has not come out since Myles Garrett made this accusation and said, well, there was this incident that maybe shows it. Not even a maybe shows it. He could have been racist at some point in his life. None of that's come out. And we're in the era of trying to destroy quarterbacks in college before getting a pro thing for quoting lyrics on Twitter. None of that's come out. None of that.
Mason Rudolph is suing Garrett.
Thank God.
Rightfully so.
Sue him out the league.
If you didn't say that and this accusation's coming at you, this is a very big accusation. It's not like this is a small accusation. This is one of the biggest accusations of someone's character you could make. Yeah. So it makes sense that if you didn't say it and then you got smacked over the head, like you're gonna sue him. You're gonna sue the guy. It's just that simple. But the Myles Garrett interview thing, was it over the accusation or was it over him being reinstated? I didn't watch it.
It was a mix of both. It was the altercation. It was reinstatement. It was a little bit of both. But bottom line is, that's just irresponsible to me. It's irresponsible to sit there and have only Garrett on if you're going to talk about the situation.
But
don't have him on at the same time.
Not the same.
A separate interview.
But my whole thing is, listen, this may sound harsh, but people care about Myles Garrett. People do not care about Mason Rudolph.
People care about Myles Garrett in the way they're starting to care about Ndamukong Suh. They care about the fact that he's still in the league.
Oh, no, people cared about him before that. People just care about him after that. It's no one cared about Mason Rudolph basically until he got hit. So I understand why they did a one-on-one interview with Myles Garrett only, because it was. I want to say it was more about his reinstatement than just the accusation. But listen, it just shows that Myles Garrett needs the one-on-one interview to make this to keep pushing this accusation. And it just really seems to crumble off of just social media and then Mike Tomlin coming on and saying, no, that just didn't happen.
Yep, Myles Garrett's entered into the Ron Artest and Ndamukong Suh type of grouping of why are they still professional athletes? They should be gone. There's certain times where players should be gone, and he's one of them.
Here's one player that is going to stay forever.
MVP. MVP.
Okay. This is ending on a high note, really. Jameis Winston had LASIK surgery for his eyes so he could see better. The man was playing. Obviously, you see all the pictures of him squinting. It was because he can't see very well. It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
When he's squinting with the crab legs, it's because his smile is so big.
Yeah, well, but I mean, we watched him throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. One of the most memorable things of all time in a season. The first ever. Jameis Winston is one of the best and worst quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. I love him because if Jameis Winston literally cut his interceptions in half, he's an elite quarterback.
Now, David, you know when we sit there and we watch certain quarterbacks make plays, and it's like, how could he not see that? Jameis Winston's legitimate. He
literally couldn't see that.
Things.
He literally couldn't see that. That's what happened. So LASIK surgery is going to have him. He's going to throw for 60 touchdowns and then maybe 20, 25 interceptions. He's still going to throw a bunch of interceptions, but more touchdowns. Because if you're still keeping Mike Evans and Godwin, then those are 1,000-yard receivers. He's going to go insane. That is if he's with the Bucs. I know Bruce Arians was really mean to Jameis Winston when he said, we won with this QB, we can win with another. That is, it's not that's not looking good for Jameis over there. But I think wherever he ends up, I think he'll do better because he can see now.
Now it's interesting. You know, certain guys are thick-headed about they don't want to change their throwing mechanics. They don't want to change their style. Jameis Winston didn't want to change the fact that he couldn't see. And he was going through every level of football and having success. Dave, he's a fifth year in the league, I think. He's still a starting quarterback somehow. And he has had some success. He's had great games. I think he's had over 4,000 yards 4 out of the 5 seasons.
Well, because that's the thing. Jameis Winston's going to go. He's going to go out there and throw for 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. But he'll also have 4 interceptions. You need to have a good defense behind him. But damn, he'll score for you. That's the whole thing. He's the duality of man on the football field.
I'm telling you right now, I'm calling it. Mike Evans is going to lead the league in drops. For the only reason, he's been so used to having to go get it that it's going to end up being right at his chest, and he's going to think it's a mirage, and he's going to put his hands up instead, and it's going to go off his chest.
Nah, man, Mike Evans, one of the most underappreciated wide receivers.
I'm not saying because of talent. I'm just saying.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying.
He's not going to expect it.
I'm just saying he deserves a shout-out anyway. One of the most underappreciated great wide receivers in the game right now.
And we'll see if O.J. Howard remembers he had to play football this year.
Man, we'll see. I mean, listen, with Jameis being able to see, it should change a lot. It should change a lot. Remember, Steph Curry couldn't see either, and he was the best shooter in the league, still the best shooter in the league, but he couldn't see either.
First ever 6,000-yard season next year, Jameis Winston?
Yeah, no, 100%. Pick him up in fantasy football because damn, he'll score.
Jameis Winston, #1 fantasy football pick. Oh my God! Come to the Jets now that you could see. I love you, Sam Darnold. We need Jameis. Jameis can see. This is a game changer.
Real goat, real goat times for him.
Oh my God!
I do want to throw one last thing in here. I don't know if you're paying attention to this, but I'm still going to throw the question at you: Wilder or Fury? Who you got?
Trash talk or results?
Results. It's got to be results, my man.
I think Wilder beats him.
Think Wilder beats him?
I think Wilder beats him. I think Fury is a good fighter. I like Tyson Fury. I like his trash talk better, and I like his actions in the ring. I just think Wilder's a better fighter overall. I think Tyson Fury is a good fighter. I think he's definitely he's a KO guy. He's a one-hit guy. He needs to get you. He has a big body behind him. He's massive. I just think Wilder's a better fighter, and I think he's going to end up knocking Fury out.
Yeah, no, this is a tough one for me. It's really
great fighters, both of them.
It's going to be a fantastic fight. I can't wait to watch it. I legitimately can't wait to watch it. I'm tipped a little bit towards Wilder because he almost finished it, and then Fury got up like it was just back to business, like he didn't care. That was one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in my life. The way Tyson Fury.
It was legitimately the Undertaker sitting right up. After
it really was. Like he just got up, like, oh man, that was a good nap. Now I've got to get back to boxing. It's like what do you have to do to this man to get him out? But I am tipping towards Wilder, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fury went. That's the whole thing. Like this is such a good fight. It's such a good matchup. I can't wait for this rematch this weekend.
It's gonna take one. If Fury can get one good hit and get Wilder off his game.
Yeah.
Then it just needs to be a hit that rocks Wilder. It doesn't necessarily like to knock him out.
Yeah,
because then Fury will control it.
Yeah, and there's always a chance for that. It's just if you hit your opening.
Yep. I just think Wilder's a better fighter overall in terms of technique.
All right, but I just want to throw that in because that is the big thing this weekend. So
that is definitely the biggest thing of the weekend, and it's it's been a long time since we have said that a heavyweight fight is the biggest thing of a weekend.
Yeah, it really has.
And I'm pumped about that because boxing needs to come back.
Exactly. Listen, I absolutely love UFC, but I would love to watch UFC and boxing.
I've always liked boxing more than UFC. I think a big knockout in boxing, I would rather watch a 6-second pay-per-view of a great knockout than a 6-second pay-per-view, knockout in boxing, than a 6-second pay-per-view of like a submission. Or I think a boxing knockout's more exciting than a UFC knockout.
I would say it depends on the knockout, my dude.
It does, but most boxing knockouts come the same way. Big punch, catches a guy, dude folds like a cheap suit. They're all the same.
That's true, but dude, if you see a flying knee hit someone in the skull, that is insane to watch. But I don't want to go too far into this because we already
can argue knockouts one day.
Exactly.
All right, and with that, that's going to close out this episode of Cuesta Dos, I guess, / Sports Opinions podcast, kind of. I don't know. I think it's just Cuesta Dos, where you're not really a guest. You're kind of, you'd be a terrible guest. You have been a guest, but you're not a good guest.
Wow.
Listen, you're mediocre just like this show.
Hey, man, you don't want to be the best because then there's always someone after you. If you're
this show needs a LASIK. This show needs a LASIK to get better. We're walking around blind. We're about to be 30-30 and then hopefully get better. But all right.
I'm fine with it.
Again, I'm Alex Cuesta. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at _Cuesta30. Find David on Twitter at dcuesta308, Instagram Cuesta Cola. Go look for Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30, Instagram SportsOpinion30. Shoot us emails to tell us how mediocre and terrible we are. Sportsopinions30 at gmail.com. And also, go listen to our other shows that are affiliated with the network. Personal Foul Podcast, you could search for that on anywhere you could find a podcast. That's my man Colton Gesser interviewing cool guests, just like Sports Opinions Podcast. You can get both. And then also, if you just go look under Sports Opinions Podcast, you'll find Cuesta Dos. You'll find K-Doc with We're Young But Just Us. You'll find Sports Opinions Podcast. hopefully eventually you'll find the playbook again. Rob and Joe are on hiatus. They might never come back, but if they do, you'll have a great show to listen to again. But all right, once again, Cuesta Dos, everybody, have a good one.